Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is Out of Bounds. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. With me, as always, every single Monday morning are my two best friends, the Welsh and the Scott Bogman. It's all of you hanging out with us on our Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's the place to be, to hang out with us live for the shows on Twitch. Make sure you join. We got stuff going on every single day on the Twitch all season long. We've got video game playing, we got fantasy talk, we got baseball, we got football, we got everything on the Twitch. So be there. And of course, if you're watching us on demand on the YouTube channel, well, of course, drop your comments below there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Plus, we got fun giveaways. Everybody likes fun, free stuff. What's the giveaway this week? Let's take a look at it. Oh, it's that DJ Moore mini helmet. That's right. And if subscribers of our Twitch get 1.5 times odds boost, God, I love a good odds boost of winning this very giveaway, this signed DJ Moore Chicago Bears helmet from our good friends at pristineauction.com, the #1 spot for getting all of your autographs, for helmets, for jerseys, all things in terms of football coolness. So, speaking of coolness, they're my cool friends hanging out.
Oh, no.
And I'm back. You know,
there you go.
Just a moment of transitioning from the helmet. I was under the helmet for a second, and I took the helmet off. All right, so let's talk about week 4. Let's look ahead to week 5, gentlemen. And I use that term loosely when I say gentlemen with these two. Scott Bogman, you would think that Adonai Mitchell would have learned from Jonathan Taylor last year that you got to hold the ball going across the end zone. You got to go all the way through.
Idiots realize this? Don't drop the ball. Don't celebrate until you are in the end zone and the crowd is roaring. That is when you are allowed to go nuts. It takes a split second to not screw with the ball before you go in. Just don't do it. And then to get the big flag on the Jonathan Taylor beautiful touchdown run.
Yeah,
well.
that was unfortunate.
He just ruined that also.
Tough day at the office.
I mean, listen, however bad you were yesterday in your bets and your fantasy, you didn't have as bad a day as Adonai Mitchell.
Well, I had a bad day in my survivor pools because the fraudy Niners, unfortunately, took a big fat L.
Welsh
and the Jacksonville Jaguars ended up beating them. And look, the Jags defense is playing pretty good football, but Welsh, just want to check in with you and see what the hell happened there. So you guys also were out on the survivor pools, or just Boggs?
Well, we had
a strike.
We do a 3-strike of the pentathlon. It's an industry one, but you get 3 strikes. So we got our first strike with the Niners.
Okay. Well, that's very unfortunate. So hopefully things will turn around there for us. All right, we're going to take your questions here at the top. So Q&A now is going to be with all of you at the top because we know everybody wants to ask us questions, which is great. So you can drop your questions. Let's not do start, sit, and things like that because it's Monday. Let's do the questions that are, big picture ideas. Maybe some trades you want to make, maybe some concerns you have about players. So drop your big picture questions, and we'll discuss them here for the first 15 minutes of the show. While we're waiting for those questions to filter in, I want to ask you guys a question. Is the Eagles' success sustainable? They are now 4-0, and Jalen Hurts has been a little conservative. We're looking at these lines where he's got like 100-something yards passing every week. In fact, he had 0 yards passing in the second half and became the first QB to win a game with 8 or more passing attempts and 0 passing yards in the second half of a game. The last guy to do it, Jake Delhomme, week 10 of 2008. So crazy talk there. Welsh, I want to get your take here on the Eagles because clearly A.J. Brown's not happy. Clearly the Eagles are happy because they're winning games. But is this current model of the Eagles offense sustainable?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure why this is a question. They did this last year. This is exact same nonsense they did last year. They didn't pass the ball. We didn't think they could pass the ball. Receivers get pissy, and guess what? They beat everybody, and they win championships because they can run. So, yeah, it sucks for fantasy. A.J. Brown, get him out.
Oh
Devontae Smith is walking around all pissy. Of course they are going to because they're going to have 4 good games this year. And then they're going to have 2 or 3 that are and then there's a bunch of disappointment. So it is horrific for fantasy, but for real football, this is what every coach dreams of. Every coach wants to just pound the rock, control the clock, get first downs at will, and never have to put the ball in the air, except because they've run it 13 times. They do play action. That's why I'm like, I don't even know what we're talking about. They did this. We had this exact same conversation last year of this exact same stuff. A.J. Brown's going to hit a tipping point, but yes, it is sustainable in the NFL, not for fantasy, though.
All right, well, Sandman's got a question. Should I panic about A.J. Brown? So, Boggs, I mean, right now, if you're an A.J. Brown manager, it's been a rough month here to open the season. You had one really splash game, and then after that, it's kind of been a lot of us all looking around each other. The opportunity's not there. Now, I'm not saying they're going to trade A.J. Brown. I don't think the Eagles are going to do that. They're 4-0, but from a fantasy standpoint, would you want to be trading away A.J. Brown just to get out from under it? Or are you trying to be patient, like Welsh is saying, and say, hey, look, this is kind of the way things started last year, and then eventually games got more competitive, and they had to, go back to throwing the football a little bit more?
Yeah, I think winning is sustainable for the Eagles. I think winning the exact same way every single game, it won't be, because teams will eventually just key in on the run if you're never going to pass it, and they'll be able to at least slow them down a little bit. No one's going to stop the Eagles. I mean, their team is great. Injuries are what can stop them. So I do think they'll have to pass the ball more, and I don't think this is a good time to sell A.J. Brown, even if you want to get out from under him. You can't sell him with 3 terrible games and 1 okay one under his belt. I think you got to wait till he strings a couple good ones together before you move him to get even close to what you paid for him back.
He did have 9 targets, but so like, what are you selling? If you're selling it, let's say he has like a cool game next week. He's a cool guy, and he's got like 5 catches for 75 yards. Maybe he's got a score, and you're trading off of him. What are you getting out of AJ Brown?
Cool guy needs 2 games in a row, first of all, to trade him. So let's wait till he has 2 cool games. And then we trade him for a cool 80 cents on the dollar instead of 50 cents.
I think that is so unobtainable and unsustainable, because if he has 2 cool guy games, everyone's going to talk themselves in.
He's
AJ Brown's
be
back.
The best cool guy.
You'll never trade him. You'll never. Is he? But
he's
like,
going to be the untradeable cool guy, is what you're saying.
To have 2 good games, to then trade him for 80 cents on the dollar. That's insanity to me. Like, you trade him 1 game 80 cents on the dollar. If he gets 2 good games, you should be getting back close to value. But you're not getting 80 cents on the dollar right now.
I don't think.
No, if he has 5 for 75 in a score, that should equate to whatever 80 to 85 cents on the dollar for AJ Brown is, which that should look something like a teens wide receiver if you're doing it. So
I think it should. I think you're right. I just don't know if it will, because these bad games are so ridiculously bad.
Someone just said Dobbs or AJ Brown.
What?
Someone just said Dobbs or AJ Brown in fantasy.
Well, let's not go crazy here. Yeah. All right, here's HBO. Should I trade Genty? I don't know why.
No.
He finally got 20 carries, and he had 138 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 catches for 17 and 2 more receiving touchdowns. But, like, that's the thing. And Boggs, we kind of touched on this, I think, a little bit last week. You and I were talking about, the red shirt Septembers that some of these rookie running backs just have to endure, unfortunately. Look, Chip Kelly finally got his head out of his rear end and realized, hey, we should really get Ashton Genty the football a lot more. And guess what? Good things happen. Now, the problem is Geno Smith also happened. But this is the time where you're not trying to sell Ashton Genty right now. Ashton Genty's finally growing into the player, hopefully the rest of the season, that you drafted. And you just hope that, hey, it's just a slow September. And like most of the rookies we've seen the last couple of years, these coaches are just kind of monitoring the 17-game season a little differently. And that's something you're going to have to put in, I think, everyone's brain for next draft season, Boggs.
I'm all for listening, right? Like, if you want to put someone on the block and see what kind of offers you get back, and maybe they give you that Godfather offer you can't refuse, I'm fine with that. But I think in most cases, I'm not selling Ashton Genty right now. And yes, he just had the enormous game. Maybe you can get too much for him, but I don't think so because of his bad start. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on to him.
How about
the
this?
volume is massive.
Offer comes in Marion Hampton and Rashee Rice for Genty.
That's a lot.
That's fair.
That's a take.
Rice still got 2 more games on the bye. You get Hampton, who just, by the way, was the number 1 usage running back this past week.
I think Genty and Hampton are close enough in workloads now to where if I'm getting Rashee Rice as the kicker, I'm all about that deal.
I would take that deal. Okay. That's what you would need to get. All right. What's a Woogie? Need a Lamar replacement at a 10-teamer. The options are Love. Well, the option isn't Love this week because he's on a bye. So is Aaron Rodgers. Stafford, Geno, Darnold. So those are the options there. Or do I target one of the guys with a soft schedule like Tua or Bryce Young? Welsh, what are your thoughts on looking ahead here? Again, the reports were that Lamar could have possibly gone back into the game, but they didn't want to push it because they were behind. I don't know how much I want to believe that or not. I'm not sure. But let's say Lamar is out and you want to get ahead of things. Is Stafford just the easy plug and play?
Yeah, Tate Teasy earlier, a couple minutes ago, said, can you guys help me understand why Stafford is consistently ranked lower than, he said Kyler specifically, which I don't disagree with. But yes, Stafford's the guy. I mean, you have the number 1 receiver right now in the NFL in Puka. You've got 2 stud receivers. He's going up against a 49ers defense, which is just absolutely banged up. They've got no pass rush whatsoever. You can kind of abuse these cornerbacks, and you have 2 incredible route runners. Like, Stafford's going to eat against the Niners. It's another 2 touchdown week. And I kind of agree. Like, Stafford every single week seems to be undervalued and underranked. I think I pushed him up. I don't remember what I had him at this week. Not going to matter in the ranks because I got Jalen Warren, but Stafford is definitely the play here and definitely an underrated quarterback week to week with how the Rams offense is running.
Shout out to Messer Grimm, who gifted a community sub. K Gamo also cheered 100 bits, as well as Morism cheering 5 and Wannabe Horseman cheering 10. We appreciate you being with us here on the Twitch channel. And don't forget to subscribe, use your Amazon Prime, get rid of those stupid commercials, and hang out with us. We're going to take another 5 minutes or so of questions here at the top. And if there's time at the end, we'll take some more of your questions. Again, keep it to the big picture stuff. That's what we're trying to do. We're talking about big trades, questions you have about players, and where they might go from here. Here's one. Henry or Judkins, who's better rest of the season, from Sam. Welsh, what are your thoughts on this one? Who would you rather have? This is a little early, I think, in the season for this question. I think I still want Derrick Henry, but where are you at?
Yeah, like you guys are allowed to come on here and give me my flowers about Judkins and me being the first one last week to go ballistic about it. You guys can praise me all you want, but we're gonna go Derrick Henry over Judkins still.
Yeah. That's why I went to you with the question, because I just want to make sure that you haven't lost your mind completely. But yeah. And look, I understand everyone's concerns with the Ravens is real. There's no doubt about that. Here's another one here from
concerns about the Ravens.
You have no concerns, not about that defense. I'm concerned about the defense.
What they're doing. I think it's great.
Oh yeah,
he's
as a
being
Steelers
snarky.
fan, you
Yeah,
love it. Yes, as a Steelers fan, you absolutely love it. All right, Matthew Golden, is he still a hold? Scott Bogman. Certainly, you shouldn't be holding down the circle button anymore. That's for sure. Let's not hold the spin button down if you're Matthew Golden, especially on.
I mean, let's get one of these 3 touchdowns to a different target, huh? Like, yeah, I think Matthew Golden is still a hold right now.
All right, here's another one from EB.
Well,
Lad
them should have been
McConkey.
to Tucker Kraft, by the way, but just
They should.
Well, yeah, that
No
Tucker
line.
Kraft one. I still
No
follow
cap.
him. Well, actually, Romeo Dobbs had a cap on, believe it or not. I'm sure. Pretty good. Lad McConkey or Chase Brown? Who would you rather have rest of season, Welsh?
literally neither. You know what? I think it's Chase Brown. Chase Brown hasn't played. I mean, we're doing questions that are getting into your segments that you're wanting to talk about.
Right.
So we're kind of ruining that. But yeah, it's Chase Brown.
Well, look, I think if you're also somebody messaged me this morning on social media and said Quentin Johnston outscored my first and second picks combined yesterday, and the first and second picks were BTJ and Nico Collins. So I'm like, yeah. I can't.
Well, buddy, Romeo Dobbs outscored your whole team too. So that's yeah, I know.
I wonder how many leagues Romeo Dobbs was actually started in last night. That would have been
not many.
Played.
Not many
against
not
me.
Too many. All right, so a lot of the injuries, obviously, Malik Nabers being the big topic too. Let's touch on that because he's out for the year with a torn ACL. The Giants have that great moment there. Jackson Dart comes in, lots of energy, a lot of fun things. We'll talk more about him a little bit later on. But in terms of the wide receivers right now, Welsh, it's been a really rough go to the season. CeeDee Lamb out for extended period. We've lost Terry McLaurin for a few weeks now. Probably Mike Evans has been out. Now you lose
pass thrower
Malik
to the number
Nabers.
one. Jamar Chase.
Oh yeah, Jamar Chase doesn't have his quarterback.
And Higgins
right,
loses Burrow. Yeah.
So this has been really tough, especially for the early wide receiver drafters like me. It's been a really weird start to the season. Seems like Puka Nacua is the only real guy. And even guys that were thought of as safe but boring, A.J. Brown has been more boring than safe. So where do we go from here? Is it just a matter of you either drafted Emeka Egbuka or you didn't at this point, Welsh?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean? Where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, what's the pivot point? How are you trying to sustain these injuries? Are you looking for guys who are, the Darius Slaytons of the world who have limited upside, especially with Jackson Dart probably not throwing all that much? Or are you looking to guys, that you're just trying to stream on a weekly basis? Okay, Jalen Tolbert is that guy this week, maybe that can get you, a fair amount of, catches, get you 10 points and get you the hell out of there.
Well, that's all that you can do. Like if you are stuck or you got those injuries, what more can you do? Are you I guess the question
Hopefully
could be
you got QJ.
Well, are you going to go and trade one of your great assets to fix those wide receivers? No, I don't think that's a good idea. I think streaming is the play. Guys like Wan'Dale, everybody crapped on Bogman for liking Wan'Dale, and Wan'Dale's now going to end up being the number one in New York. Guys like Wan'Dale being aggressive early on. But there's a bigger picture question, be better. Maybe take some running backs in the early rounds there, Joe. Have a couple running backs, but also aggressive on waivers early on. Aggressive, I every year it feels like I fight with Bogman in that league we play, this dual league, about going nuts in week one on whatever receiver goes crazy. 2 years ago, Puka, it worked. Last year, it didn't. And this year, it was Quentin Johnston. And I'm like, let's go on Quentin Johnston. And it's being hyper aggressive and never being complacent with your bench. That's the bigger picture. What can you do? You're just going to have to look and play matchups and be heavily aggressive on waivers. Because I think trading from your whatever you still have as like your big strength, I think that is not a good play here. Because if you had Ashton Genty and you're like, well, someone offered me, whatever, Jamar Chase and Wandale, or I don't know, something, maybe that's too much, but you know what I'm trying to say, like a mid-ish wide receiver and then a really low one to get rid of your awesome running back. I'm not sure that's the best play, especially if there are options on the
hold on a second, because Welsh, you said, well, you should draft running backs. Well, Saquon Barkley, obviously, he's been fine. He's RB12 right now. Like, that's not super exciting.
He's playing, but he's
James
playing.
Cook, who nobody wanted, I feel
Should
like.
take
lost
Jonathan
in
Taylor.
But, and me. Also, in fairness, the three of us did, but it seems like
Josh
nobody
Jacobs
else
is
did.
pretty good. Yeah.
McCaffrey's
Josh
been
Jacobs is pretty good.
Bijan been pretty good.
McCaffrey and Bijan have been
running
pretty
backs
good.
have been better somehow than the wide receivers to start the year. And that's not typically what happens, right?
Well, who
Usually-
always gets lost in the shuffle bogs every year, and I think it's just unfair, is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, Amon-Ra St. Brown shows up every single year.
Didn't get lost in
and
my shuffle.
Me neither. I've got him in flex. Like, it's one of those things where I keep looking at him like, why do we kind of take him for granted every single year?
To your point, in the first round, Puka and Amon-Ra were the two that kept dropping. There was a point where Puka was 4, and then everyone's like, nah, I got to have Drake London. He's so amazing. And it's like the two boring-ass dudes are the best players, and Brian Thomas sucks. Drake London, inconsistent, though he had a really great game this past week. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. I agree with that.
But I think A.J. Brown dropped too, right? And
A.J. Brown sucks.
A lot of people weren't buying into that. So, like, it is hit and miss with a lot of these players that dropped. I guess my question is now, so what do we do if you had Nabers, or you had Lamb, they're going to be missing for a big chunk of time? Like, what's a decent deal to get a wide receiver and a running back, right? Like, are you taking your Cook and selling high and getting like, Jordan Addison and...
I just said I'm not doing that. I don't know if you heard. I
somebody
literally
back?
just said I'm not doing that.
I know you said that. I'm asking what is a fair deal, right? If you're trying to fix this problem, I guess. So, I don't know.
It just depends who you have, unless you're saying to get rid of like a Lamb.
You know what's funny? We're talking about, Puka and Amon-Ra, and one of those guys have in common, one of the few things now, which is both of them have stand in the pocket quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's what they both have.
They're
They're
the ball
decent.
downfield.
Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford are standing in the pocket and throwing the football. Just think about that. I know, some of these offenses where these more athletic quarterbacks are really fun and interesting on paper, but in terms of returning all that investment sometimes, like Lamar had a great year last year throwing the football, but I don't know if we can count on that from everybody elevating all the wide receivers all the time.
I mean, look
Joe
at the wide
Burrow's
receivers in Buffalo, right? Like, none of those guys are very consistent.
No. All right, let's go to Tito's question, and then we'll turn the page here. We'll come back to your questions, so don't go anywhere. We'll keep doing questions with you. Cheer 50 lost CD and Nabers. Oof, man, somebody send this guy a cocktail. And I have Dobbs on a bye. Thoughts on Addison and Terry rest of season? I believe I can grab one on a trade. What do you guys think? Who would you rather have?
I'd still rather have Terry just slightly, but with the injury, it makes him risky. It makes these guys somewhat even. So I think my initial thought is I'd rather have Terry for a higher workload. He doesn't have a Justin Jefferson to deal with, right? Like, Debo's good, but he's not JJ. So I think I would rather have Terry McLaurin, but the injury makes it,
I kind of lean that way
much
too.
tighter.
Wentz is a turnover machine, and then eventually get McCarthy back, and that's a little bit of an unknown. Welsh, do you agree? Like, you'd roll the dice with the better guy?
It's pretty close, though. I'd say, like, Terry can be very boom or bust, and Addison in that offense kind of does the same thing. He opened up more Jefferson this week. In another given week, Jefferson might be taken away, and that creates these incredible opportunities for Addison. But, like, the value is on Terry as being, like, a actual number one, so that's where I would go. But if the guy was like, I'll give you Terry or I'll give you Addison, and I might listen to what the and is.
Yep.
Okay,
I think
fair
that's
enough.
a good way to
All
look
right,
at it.
let's get to our takeaways and our favorite moments from the week. My big takeaway from the week is I think Tyler Warren's going to finish as tight end 1 overall this year. And my takeaway number 2, just kind of floating out there, Ravens defense is awful. I mean, and they're injured now on top of it, and it is going downward so fast right now, and it's really difficult. I know Boggs hates to see it, but you do love to see Tyler Warren. I love how he's like lining up all over the spot, right? He's a fullback, he's a tight end, he's a receiver.
Played high school quarterback too. He's gonna throw
I'm
one
waiting.
this year.
I'm waiting for that, Boggs. But I mean, Tyler Warren has just been incredible, and certainly Daniel Jones is very lucky to have him. Boggs, what was your big takeaway here from Week 4 as we're shutting the door after our double dip of Monday games tonight?
Cowboys are terrible. Their defense is awful.
Yeah.
They're allowing 33 points per game, 420 yards per game, and they play the Jets next week. So you should be looking to maybe start Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson in that game because their defense is miserable. Now, their offense is great.
Yeah,
Even
Dak's
without
played
CeeDee
terrific.
Lamb, they put it on the Packers, who are a very good defense. So their offense is legit, but it seems like every week it's going to have to go point for point. I mean, remember, Russell Wilson looked like a god versus the Cowboys defense and then was benched the next week. So that's just how bad this Cowboys defense is currently.
Crazy too, because I was looking at, I was like, okay, who are the Cowboys playing this week? That's gonna be my 300-yard passer, and then it was Justin Fields, and I went, can't do that. But if he puts up a 300 spot against the Cowboys, we look out. Welsh, what's your big takeaway from the week that was in Week 4?
All right, I'm officially calling it Lad era over. Quentin Johnston is him, and Lad is done. Lad is it is ridiculous. Like, things can change because he's a talented wide receiver, just not involved enough. He had a 20% first read percentage this week. Quentin Johnston, almost 38%. 38%. He had 60% air yard share, almost 32% target percentage in Week 4. He's getting the big plays. And one of the problems, and this is like a weird problem, because last year they just didn't have good options. So like Herbert would go look around and then he would just get to Lad. Well, guess what? You have 3 great options of guys that are open immediately. And you have a great pass catcher out of the backfield in Marion Hampton. So Herbert isn't needing to do a bunch of checkdowns. He's got Allen usually always on that little post route. He's got Quentin Johnston going deep. You've got Lad in the slot. He's not even looking there anymore. I think he's so talented, Lad, and I love him. But I think it's done. And I think Quentin Johnston is the number 1 receiver on here. And I know it's Week 4 and blah, blah, blah. It feels like it, but he's doing it every single week. This offense is different now. And Herbert can really pick and choose as he goes.
I just thought of a game. All right.
Okay.
It's going to be called Limbo. And I want to see how low you go to get rid of Lad McConkey.
Right.
So,
all right, here we go.
Let's start here. Cortland Sutton. We're taking Cortland Sutton over
Yes.
Lad, right, Welsh? Easy.
Cortland Sutton over Lad, yes.
Okay. Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Probably, but I'm not happy about it. I just have so little faith in Kyler Murray.
Hold on. Jameson Williams.
Well, J-Mo is very up and down. He's got those explosive. Like, for the 9 games or 8 games he's got left at home, yeah, I'll take him. How about you,
Yeah,
Welsh?
I think they're
Gonna come down underneath the limbo stick?
Yeah,
Chris
like
Godwin.
I don't want to start. I don't want to start Lad anymore. I'm gonna start
That's
Chris
another
Godwin.
tough one. Probably Godwin. It's funny because last year, guys know I was a big Lad McConkey guy, right? And I had a lot of shares because he was cheap. This year, that second round value, and I had a lot of early picks this year. I just couldn't get on the second round evaluation of Lad because it really concerned me. So I have 0 shares this year, and I had a lot of opportunities to take him. I'm glad that I did not. I'm also shocked by the QJ stats this year. I think they're very eye-opening. And now the question begs too. You have injuries in the offensive line. You have Slater out for the year. We knew that going in. But now Joe Alt has a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Welsh, do you think that this offense has to change and pivot to those quick outs now in the Lad McConkey universe in the slot now that you have less protection?
No, but that's already what they're doing. Like, there's not a whole lot of time. Like, Quentin Johnston is making plays with his feet, like in quick, just boom booms. Keenan Allen, if anything, is kind of the beneficiary. Like, when I say that Lad is done, Lad's so talented. Like, there could be a week where Herbert just goes like, hey, Madison Beer told me to throw to Lad, so I'm going to throw to Lad a whole bunch now. Like, that could happen. But on a week-to-week basis, he's the most inconsistent of these wide receivers, no matter what this offense goes to. They've built such a comfortable level of pass heaviness. I want him to be great. I am wrong. I liked Lad more than anything this year, but the offense is simply too good that Herbert literally gets a guy open or he quickly goes to his second read. It's just every single time. And unfortunately, Lad is not the 40% first read guy anymore. That's Quentin
Jacoby
Johnston.
Myers?
Over Lad?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably.
'Cause I'm worried at some point. and hopefully this helps the audio volume here. Just let me know if it does. I'm hoping that at some point things do kind of adjust again. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm worried that Gino, because we're going to get to him in a second, is maybe not going to keep that job very long. And then, the Kenny Pickett era begins or whatever might happen there. All right, let's do our favorite moments of the week too. Mine, Romeo Doubs with the hat trick, wearing the Guardian helmet. I think that's just a fun thing to catch 3 touchdowns and wearing the big giant Guardian helmet. He looked good doing it. And now everyone's going to have to chase him on the waiver wire, and he's on. Oh, he's on a bye next week. Oh, what a shame. So that'll be fascinating to see him and Kenneth Gainwell, right? These big splash games where people might run to the waiver wire. Now they have to ask themselves the hard question. Do I still want to spend fab on a guy that I can't play next week? That's a big question. Welsh, what was your favorite moment from week 4?
How about just Ashton? I mean, I had a lot, but Ashton Genty just becoming Randy Marsh and putting a bunch of footballs in a wheelbarrow and just pushing them around. I can't speak here, but after everybody was just ready to be done with him, I thought the hat trick for him. Also get involved in the passing game a little bit more. And was this 100% true? You guys tell me, or Boggs, you might know better, but that he hadn't been going in his upright stance, and this was a week that he decided to go back to just full upright, and then he just started being a little bit more explosive. Is that a thing?
I haven't been paying attention to it, but I would not be surprised because he always stands, at Boise State, he always stood straight up.
He was straight up in this game, but I don't know if that was happening in the other games.
I think he's been doing it, but I could be mistaken. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think there's tons of moments. I mean, also, if you want to talk from a moment perspective on that Packers game, how about the Packers absolutely almost blowing the game by some of the worst play calling ever? How about Liam Cohen and Robert Saleh ready to get in a fist fight because Liam Cohen?
Yeah, what was that all about?
He's being a little baby.
More insight about that?
Yeah, well, it's easy. It's Saleh.
Who's being the baby?
Well, Cohen's being a little sensitive. So Saleh called him out. I mean, maybe you could pick this on Saleh for saying, like, he has this really great legal way to cheat, essentially. So that's a big accusation, I suppose. They beat him.
Sign stealing.
That's a better way to put it. So then after Saleh went to shake his hand and Cohen brushed him off and then said, keep your name out my mouth, and then got real pissy, and then he got called out pretty much by everybody.
He definitely did the Will Smith.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. For being
I'm surprised he didn't go
huge
Duval,
baby.
like
huge baby.
Weird
like you
thing.
just won, dude. Like rub it in a little bit. Like he's being a huge sensitive baby. By the way, usually you get the most offensive when you're absolutely on the wrong. When you are wrong and sign stealing and someone calls you out, you're probably going to be a little bit more sensitive about it. Just throwing that out.
All right, Boggs, what was your moment of the week?
Adonai Mitchell dropping this stupid ball going into the end zone. Like, this should be the last one of these we see. The Deshaun Jackson one a million years ago should have been the last one we see. This should be at the rookie symposium every single year. Probably is. Don't be the dummy that drops the ball going into the end zone and takes a touchback for your team. Don't be this guy. You're going to become a meme. They should shame these guys into never even consider doing this.
If I were an owner, I would put in like $1 million fine.
They lost that game for that. They lost that game because of that.
If you celebrate fumble before it goes in, $1 million fine.
It should be something absurd. You should be made an example of.
$5 million.
$8 billion fine if you don't hold that ball. Like, if you fumble going in because somebody knocked it out, then they made a great play. But if your dumbass drops it trying to celebrate, you're an idiot, and you should be shamed. And this should be the last one we ever see. It won't be.
It won't.
We'll probably see another one this year. It's just so
I just
stupid.
think it's hilarious that it happened on the same team. That's to me like when it's like internally where the coaching staff, I was like, hey, look, where you had it, and it's not like
you were here last year. You were here last year. You saw this happen. You
saw it happen.
Dummy.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
Yeah, very frustrating, no doubt about that. All right, let's play a little Fact or Fiction. We'll do a little 3-1-1, and we'll take some more of your questions as well here. Again, we're on our Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. You can also watch back on our YouTube channel, but we're live every single week, Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch, so go check us out there. Fact or Fiction, Boggs, the Chiefs are back after a big win yesterday against the Baltimore Ravens. Xavier Worthy returned at some big plays. Tyquan Thornton again with another TD, and now we're getting closer to Rashee Rice being back in just a few weeks. So are the Chiefs back?
No, they aren't. Absolutely not. This run game is pathetic. I don't think the defense is as close to what it was last year. I don't like these Chiefs right now. So
Rashard Smith does look like the more explosive guy, doesn't he?
Didn't put him in.
Right, but they give him a couple carries, and then whenever I watch him, he seems more explosive.
I am so sick of Kareem Hunt. I've had more than enough of Kareem Hunt for one lifetime. Can we please be done with him, right? Pacheco's not good either. Get rid of both these losers. They both suck. The answer for the Chiefs' run game is Mr. Outside Hire next year. That's who it is. But it's going to just keep being a gross mix of whatever, and I just don't think the defense has the depth that they had last year. So I'm going to say false. I don't think the Chiefs are back.
All right, Welsh, fact or fiction, Woody Marks has taken over the Texans' backfield, and he's never going to give it back.
This would be a fact. We actually talked a decent amount about Woody Marks. We had some Woody Marks questions on the Sunday stream, and it slowly looked like it had been working this way. You know, over the last couple weeks, he had been a guy where it's like, you got to pick him up. And then this week, it ended up happening. Now, I want to take a look here because he's overall got around a 38% snap percentage with the team. But when we look at just week 4, that went up to almost 60%. Ironically, he still only had a little bit less than 40% of the rush attempts, but I think this put him in the spot. Pass protection looks great, by the way. Getting targeted out of the backfield. He's just more of a complete back. So, yeah, I don't think he's giving this up. Is he going to be, an unquestioned bell cow? I don't know about that, but I'm going to find it pretty hard to believe that he's going to have less than 15 touches per week. And in this day and age, that's just good enough to say that this is the guy moving forward. So if Woody Marks is out there, you should go and pick him up immediately.
He's out there in almost 70% of leagues. Last week, we did a public service announcement about him, Rashard Smith, Monangai, and I'm going to do it about Monangai again because Swift had a touchdown, but he still was not great in that game by any stretch of the means. They have a bye this week. Don't be shocked if you see more Kyle Monangai when they come out of the bye, just touching the football more out of that backfield. But we talked last week on the Waiver Wire show on Fantasy Pros about adding Woody Marks, getting all these guys on the cheap now just in case. And this is what happens. They have a big game. Next thing you know, you got to hunt him down. And it was a huge game for him. And Chubb doesn't have any, Chubb is not what he used to be. It's very sad. It's depressing. And we also got the update during the show today that Joe Mixon still has no timetable for whatever the hell is wrong with him.
I assume he's just not coming back, but I do fear, as soon as I pick up Woody Marks and start starting him,
Joe Mixon returns to Brown.
It'll be one of those things.
Sting from the top rafter, out of nowhere, no report or anything, and he'll just drop right into your fantasy.
My God, it's Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's dressed like the Crow.
That's definitely the thought I keep having is they're giving us absolutely nothing, and then we're just going to get a Sunday morning Jay Glazer report. Joe Mixon's active, and we're like, what?
What? That's exactly how it happened. It would come out of nowhere Sunday at 11:15. That's exactly what would happen. All right, let's do another one here. Fact or fiction, Boggs. Geno Smith is in danger of being replaced at quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. Just to give you the stat line here, he has 7 interceptions, just 6 touchdowns. He leads the league in picks. That's not a great situation, but is it enough to replace him at QB with Kenny Pickett?
No. With Kenny Pickett? Absolutely not. No. I've seen the Kenny Pickett story. It does not end well. So pass on that. I don't like Geno. I never really have. I think that he can make big plays, but typically when the moment is enormous, he folds like origami. That has just been the Geno Smith story. He'll have these amazing blow-up games where he looks great, and he'll have these type of games where he throws 3 picks in 3 quarters. So just a bad day for him. There is no way I go to Kenny Pickett if I'm the Raiders. I don't care.
All right, Jackson Dart is the topic of the next fact or fiction. Welsh, Jackson Dart can be fantasy relevant without Malik Nabers. Fact or fiction?
Yeah, fact. I mean, dude wants to run. He wants to run a lot. He's going to just be the other Justin Fields in New York. Both of those guys are going to be trying to run a ton. They don't have great receivers, but they have possession guys. Malik was a great possession guy, but he also can make the big plays. This is going to be just tons of 10-yard outs to Wandale and Darius Slayton. Slayton can stretch the ball a little bit. Dart's fine. Dart is going to run a whole lot. If he gets you 1 passing touchdown, he's probably going to pair that with 50-plus rushing yards per game, so he can be fantasy relevant.
A lot of Theo Johnson and Cam Scatterboo checked down.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a lot more. Cam Scatterboo's value is just through the roof right now. 25 carries yesterday. It's going to be a lot of Cam Scatterboo. All right, last one here. Back to you, Boggs. The Patriots offense turned a corner yesterday, Boggs. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. I don't think they turned a corner. They look good.
Look the same.
Okay.
Yeah, but I
Well,
mean,
a little different. You saw
Diggs
Travion
look better,
getting-
but until you start getting
Diggs had 100-yard, right? Diggs had a big
Travion
game. You
needs
had
15 to
Travion starting to
20.
get the football. Okay.
I am so sick of Ramondre Stevenson. I'm sick of
Not as sick as I am, Boggs. Not as
You're
sick as
right.
I am.
I'm not. I'm not as sick as you are, but I am sick of him, and I want to see Travion Henderson get a much bigger workload here. So, and that just keeps not happening. So until that happens, they have not turned a corner yet for me.
All right, let's take some more of your questions, then we'll do the 3-1-1 here. So again, if you got some questions, drop them here. Let's go to Wannabe Horseman. Lost Nabers. Ouch. About to go 0-4, but only 2 games back in the playoffs. Okay, so I have Jeddah with a bye coming up, London with a bye coming up, Rice, Manor, Brown, KW3, Harvey, Corum. This is the roster. Should I trade Rice plus a piece to get a usable wide receiver running back? Well, here's the thing. It's like you got to get somebody that is really going to make a solid impact for you because you're so close. I feel like there's a lot of football left. I don't like going 0-5. But the problem is I feel like this is a team that's going to get better as it goes. You saw London have a good game. You're hoping at some point Harvey contributes here. This is tricky here because I think this is a well-drafted team. We'd all look at this team on September 1st and go, yeah, this is a team that's going to compete. But A.J. Brown hasn't done what he's supposed to do. You had KW3 put up a stinker in that first week. That probably cost you that week. I assume the Brown you're talking about here is Chase Brown. So, Welsh, when you look at this roster, do you think trading Rice is the way out of it?
Nope. Take this off, by the way. All the cheers are.
I like to lay on it right
Yeah.
there. What do you think about this question? That was my resting post.
I'll throw this out. I think you should
Come
trade
on.
Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson's got a bye coming in week 6. You've got this week to put him out there. You're out with no London. You suck, unfortunately. Lovingly, I say your team sucks. So make a big change because what do you have to lose? More games? You're already losing them all. So go trade Justin
have another
Jefferson.
game with Wentz, right? And then
Yeah, but
you're going to
go
have
trade
eventually more
Jefferson
JJ.
and do one of the trades that we don't usually like. Do a balance trade. 2 for 1. Go 2 for 1. Try to get maybe it's a. I wouldn't advocate getting Woody Marks necessarily, but go get like a running back ish and a wide receiver ish, and try to get some more depth to this team. And then guess what? You might have a wide receiver 1 when Rice comes back himself. So don't go trade Rice because he doesn't have enough trade value. Go trade Jefferson for your stinky team right now and try to get the best 2 package to try to pick up a win. And then you've got reinforcements coming. London, his bye will be done, and then you'll have Rice coming back 2 weeks later. That's what I would do.
That's
It
it.
feels
That's the way to go.
There's a
about it.
world where Rice ends up having more points the rest of the season than JJ, the way the quarterback play goes. So
Yeah,
I'm saying
I
it's
hope we
not
don't live in that
impossible.
world, but
I don't want to live in that world either, but
Yeah.
I gotta say it's out there. All right, another person who just lost Nabers. Mile High just lost
And
Nabers.
Evans.
And Evans, struggling at tight end, got offered Brees Hall, Ricky Pearsall, Chris Godwin, Brock Bowers for Terry McLaurin, and Terry McLaurin for Gibbs and Sutton. I also have McCaffrey. That's a big cash in for Gibbs. I don't like trading Gibbs, but you're getting Brees Hall, Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall did pick up an injury this week. Godwin's coming off an injury. So there's a lot of, and Terry McLaurin. So it's like, here's a bunch of hurt players, but it's a pretty quality group of hurt players. Boggs, you're in on this.
I'm in on it. Yeah, like I understand Ricky's banged up, Godwin's coming back, and Brock Bowers isn't like 100% right now, and Terry McLaurin has the calf, right? I get that. But you get so much depth on a team that just lost 2 of its major pieces. I'm going to pull the trigger on that deal.
All right. How about this one from Davis? Scatterboo for Henderson and Olave, Welsh. What side of that deal you want to be on?
Oh, man. You know what, like, I think Scatterboot might be the best player here. I don't know if they're going to give the workload to Henderson quite enough. Olave is definitely, like, in dude level. But, I mean, this week alone, I had some major questions of, what was it going to end up looking like with Scatterboo. Scatterboo ended up having the 12th highest rush attempt per team percentage. He had one of the higher snap percentages. I feel like his passing game could uptick a little bit with Dart in there. That is some pretty good depth. Maybe I'm off here because if Henderson does get the workload, I'm just not convinced he is. I kind of lean Scatterboo, and maybe that's.
I kind of lean Scatterboo. I'd want you to throw something just cheap back with it.
I would take Henderson and Olave. I'm a little surprised here, but look, Henderson hasn't gotten the run. That's what makes this a doable deal, right?
Yeah,
exactly what Welsh said. Exactly what Joe said. Just Scatterboo is getting the workload.
Like if you need Olave to start, then there's an advantage there. But if you look at it like Olave's a bench piece, and who would you rather have, Scatterboo or Henderson? I'd rather have Scatterboo right now. I think Scatterboo, and for quite a period of time.
All right, Morism here. Is it worth keeping Franklin on my bench, or do I drop him and shop waivers? The rest of the team is as follows here. Looking at this roster, I gotta say, I don't know if I want to drop Franklin. Let's wait and see what he does tonight too. I think that's another thing because Franklin's one of the guys too that's already about 50% rostered. We talked about on the waiver wire show. Debro likes picking him up too. He's surprised they're still
the
out
last
there.
guy on that roster, but yeah, I'm with you.
Maybe.
Like, let's see what he does.
And look, like if Woody Marks is out there for him, I would do that. Like that's the kind of move. It's got to be somebody who's going to make an immediate impact. It's Mason. Thoughts on Nico Saquon swap? I would want the Saquon side of that personally.
Running back needy team needs a wide receiver. Oh, so you would be getting Saquon? Absolutely, buddy.
I'm absolutely in on this.
Do you think, Joe? You weren't. Yeah. You were. Well, you kind of were doing this whole thing because it was definitely Erickson. But like, where are you at on the Saquon thing? Are you like victory lapping? Like, you should have never taken him in the top.
No,
end,
I just didn't
like,
want to take him as a top 5 pick, and I knew that's where he was going to go, so I knew I wasn't ever going to have him. So like for me, I'm very, very clear about how I grade players in terms of my investment. Like my number 1 overall picks, there was only 2 guys to me that even, is Bijan, Jamar Chase. And then after that, the conversation was, why don't we like Amon-Ra as much as we should? Why are some of these other guys seem to get shade? Saquon to me, because of the risk he brought, because of the wear and tear of last year, was a legitimate problem. Look, his yards per carry right now are down to 3.1. Like, people say that's an overrated stat. Okay, but it's still 3.1. So that's a bit of a problem. I think Saquon will be fine. Like even though I was down on Saquon going into the year as a top 5 pick, when a trade like that presents itself where you're going to give me Saquon for Nico, especially since, all the problems that the Texans have had this year, that's a no-brainer deal.
But was he 6 for you? Because I feel like you would have taken Nico over Saquon. I know
no,
Erickson
it was the same thing I had with McCaffrey,
question.
which is like I like those guys at the end of drafts. And by the time we got to the thick of draft season, none of those guys were around the turn. They were all going 6, 7, 8, right in the middle. 6, 7.
Oh, I knew you were going to do that. God,
I have to just once. Is it the worst thing? See, Bogman doesn't understand because he doesn't have like teens or preteen kids living in his house. He has no children.
God.
You and I have the children, and the 6, 7 is so annoying. I hate it so much. I don't understand it.
I want to say all the things you can't say in like a live. Like it drives me nuts. Like my daughter currently has like a foot. She's a dancer. She has like a foot issue, and I was having a very serious conversation with her, and we're talking about pain levels, and I'm like, "Where's the pain level at? Is it like a 6, 7, 6 or 7?" And then she just starts laughing, and I'm like, this is not a laughing thing right now. Stop with the 6, 7. It's crazy.
It's crazy. All right, let's talk about the 3-1-1 contest. So I still got J.K. Dobbins waiting. The other boys both got one. Omari and Hampton went over 100 yards rushing for Boggs. Welsh got a 300-yard game from Jordan Love, of course, against the Cowboys. Now I'm still winning 3-2-2, but
I got Bo Nix tonight too.
Oh, that's right. You got Bo Nix tonight too. But look at the scoreboard. Great job by the graphics team. We look good. Boggs looks like a pirate. You know what you look like? You look like
he does look like a swashbuckler.
No. You my favorite character. No, from What We Do in the Shadows. One of the vampires.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Hello, everyone. I've got the 3-1-1 contest. I can't remember the actor's name. His last name is Barry. Is it Matt Berry? That's his name? I want to say.
I think Matthew Berry's. Laszlo?
Yeah.
Someone in the chat just said that.
But what's his name?
I've never seen the show.
His name is
Matt Berry. Yeah.
I'm right. Matt Berry. Wonderful, talented actor, hilarious on that show. Let's get to the Bat. I'm Jackie Daytona. Look at me. I've got this. When he changes into a character, no one recognizes him just because he puts a toothpick in his mouth. Funniest thing ever. All right, let's get to this week. Again, I really wanted to target the Cowboys, but I can't. So instead, I'm going to take out all my anger on the Jaguars for screwing me last week. Patrick Mahomes. Let's go. 300 yards passing for Mahomes. Give me Jonathan Taylor against Vegas as my 100-yard rusher and my 100-yard receiver. Who else? Amon-Ra St. Brown against the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, Welsh, give us your 3-1-1 for week 5.
You talked about how bad the defense is for Baltimore. They're like, I think, second or third in passing yards given up per game. So we're going to go with CJ Stroud, just slanging the ball to Nico this week.
That's
so
a good
CJ
one.
Stroud for my 300-yard passer. Carolina is in the bottom 5 or 6 in rushing yards given up. Devon Achane. How about a little bit of Devon Achane action? Get the ball on the ground, keep it out of the air as much as you can out of Tua's hands. And then Puka Nacua Puka always kills the 49ers. Thursday game, 49ers defense just looks blah. I know it is a little bit wonky when you get a guy coming off of like a big 170 game, but you know what? I'm going to say Puka is going to light up the 49ers
targets.
again. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Boggs, 3-1-1. Who do you have?
I'm going to go with the outdoor cat, Jared Goff, at Cincinnati. Love to watch the escalator of sadness. in Cincinnati when the Bengals lose. So love to see that. Then I'm going to go with Breece Hall against Dallas. I just don't trust that defense at all to stop anything because I can't do anything right now or stop anyone. So give me Breece. And then Xavier Worthy against Jacksonville. Don't like that strike that Welsh and I got. So, let's take some revenge on those stupid Jaguars and go with Worthy way over 100.
There you go. Also, Cedric Tillman ruled out for week 5 already. And already some news coming in on Lamar Jackson just from when we started the show, looking a little unlikely for this week with the hamstring. They say actually he could not go in regardless of the score yesterday. So that is a rumor that we've now officially killed on Out of Bounds. That's why you watch the show. That's why you hang out with us. And of course, you can keep the conversation going on our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. It's fun. It's free. We've got shows over there recording all the time, so you can check that out again. fantasypros.com/chat. Oh, look at this. There you go. And
you always look like you're arguing with that phone. I am.
I'm like, hey, why don't you turn on and do the things I want you to do when I want you to do them? What's wrong
Siri,
with your face?
Why don't you give me
Siri.
the answer I want, huh?
Also, don't forget 1 month of Betting Pros Premium right now as well, available for you. So you can go download the Betting Pros app and you get 30 days of the premium tools for free with the promo code FP 1 month. Not bad. Also, don't forget, make sure you're dropping the comments below. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel and make sure you get a chance to win the DJ Moore helmet giveaway from pristineauction.com. That'll do it for us. But of course, the story of the game goes on. For Bogman and Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. We're on to week 5. Oh, why am I looking at my phone this way? Oh my God, these apps are unbelievable. Why did I turn into John Travolta all of a sudden? I don't know.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, these apps are unbelievable. It's like Scientology happening on my phone. And all of a sudden, now I'm on a different spaceship. Oh my God.
You got to go visit Tom.
God, there's little tiny creatures inside my phone. Oh my God.